welcome Zuni Chopra. She's a young author, she's just 17, and she's daughter of Chopra and filmmaker Vinod Chopra. That's how they always start my interviews. The privileged bit is kind of a hard one to escape. When everyone knows who your parents are, what can you do to be bigger than your last name? What mountain can you conquer to match the Everest of those who came before you? And I think I've been living this life, this crazy, unpredictable, spotlighted life, for 17 years now. And I think the most important thing that I've learned is this. You're you. It doesn't really matter who your parents are, where you've come from, or who tried to define you, or really anything. We welcome Zuni Chopra. She's a young author, she's just 17, and her latest book has just come out, and she's daughter of Chopra and filmmaker Vinod Chopra. That's how they always start my interviews. It bothered me at 15. Why were they always mentioning who my parents were? Why were their names repeated more often than mine? I had just published my first novel at the Jaipur Literature Festival, and I was overcoming some major self-confidence issues. But I was beginning to see that it still wasn't enough to shake off what people saw. Snobbish, privileged, entitled, probably loves chick lit, doesn't really read those authors she was talking about, just wants to sound clever. And I did realize then that maybe there was some truth to what they said, or maybe there wasn't. I'd never really thought about it very hard. And the recurring phrase was, only got where she is because her parents got there first. Now, the privileged bit is kind of a hard one to escape. When everyone knows who your parents are, what can you do to be bigger than your last name? What mountain can you conquer to match the Everest of those who came before you? How do you deal with the pressure of living up to that? How do you deal with no one thinking that anything you did was actually because of you? And when everything's already done, every fight already won, no real need to do anything but sort of contently lays on, well then, where does this passion even come from? It so often phases me. We'll be at the dinner table and my dad will just casually show us the rough trailer for a new-length feature film, or my mom will just mention that she's now considered an influencer by some major company. I don't even know what that means. And, sometimes I'm about to reply with a story of my own. Maybe I did well on a test, or I answered a tricky question right in math about vectors or something, and I just kind of think better of it in the moment. It is a little scary, I'm not gonna lie. But when I was younger, I didn't really think of all that. When I was younger, I liked to piece together stories out of little Lego figures. I didn't really like building as much as I liked the imagination of it, as much as I liked just sort of sitting and telling stories with the little pieces of plastic. There was so much I wanted to do. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to be an explorer. I wanted to learn magic someday. And yeah, I still have that hope. Maybe Hogwarts is real, you never know. But when I grew up, I realized there was another name for what I wanted to be, a writer. And I liked to piece together little phrases and funny rhymes. I liked to make people laugh. When I was younger, I really enjoyed the story of it all, and that was kind of where the passion came from. And I published my first novel at 9, and then another at 11, and another at 11, and it was kind of, like I said, it was the story of it that kept me going. I think my parents definitely knew before I did, but they never filled my heads with praise, and they never boasted to other aunties at dinner parties about what a bright future I had ahead of me, until I actually started becoming a little bit worthy of their praise. And I found an art that I loved. I found something that I loved to do, and I fought to conquer my own mountains, not really for the view at the peak, but rather for the joy of the climb. And it was that determination and that hard work that really stayed with me. And, it's this that's kind of brought me this far. And I think I've been living this life, this crazy, unpredictable, spotlighted life, for 17 years now. And I think the most important thing that I've learned is this. You're you. It doesn't really matter who your parents are, where you've come from, or who tried to define you, or really anything. And finally, in the end, I know that everyone thinks that, this one is this one's kid, and that one is that one's kid, but in the end, that's only going to get you so far. Privilege and a name can really only get you so far. The other half of it, it's passion, and it's grit, and it's hard work, And it's waking up at 6 in the morning on a summer vacation, even though everyone else is out at the pool and you really don't want to be here, but you really have to write because there's a novel you want to make. And there's something you want to do, and there's so many mountains that you have yet to climb. And it's that really takes you far in the end. Maybe someday if I work hard enough, they'll be Zuni's parents and I'll have stolen the show. Thank you.